Welcome back to another episode of the Successful Driver Podcast. And I am so excited to be talking to our guest today. He is formerly the president of Aero Truck Sales. He's actually the man that signed off on this podcast when we first had the plans for it. Jeff Oldham, you're the Central Region Vice President at Mack Trucks. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Yeah, no, Kent, this is super exciting. It's awesome to see you. It's awesome to get to talk to you, and just truly honored to have the opportunity to be with the podcast and with everyone that's a part of it.
Yeah, I really, initially, I wanted to have you on, maybe to kind of just launch this thing. You've moved on to the mothership now. You're with Mack Trucks. If you don't know, Aero is owned by Volvo Mack. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions about, some stuff that, we talked about in the past, but I want to just kind of start here. I want to start here with the industry background. Tell me a little bit about your story in the trucking industry.
Yeah. So it's short, Kent. It's super short, so for me, I really, my first kind of dive into the truck business was with Aero in February of 2019. So prior to that, I had roughly 21 years in the agricultural equipment space, I worked for Deere Corporate for 15 years, and then I was a part of a large family Deere dealer group for 6 years. And so had this really unique opportunity and had no clue what was Aero, let alone really understanding what was Volvo and Mack, but really, truly it was my experience with Aero, my time with the company that I've had now. So just over 2 years overall, it's been a phenomenal experience, and it's amazing people, and it's friends that I consider I'll have for the rest of my life. And it's people that, to see be a part of the organization, to get to work with the salesmen, to get to work with everybody, and ultimately to get to meet the customers and engage with the customers. That's what this business is about. It's about how we help support and serve the customers that we do business with. And that's been, it's just been one of those awesome jobs I've got to be a part of, and really proud and honored to have the opportunity.
I'm excited to talk to you because you kind of have had a crash course in the trucking industry. We've gotten a lot of people with a lot of varying backgrounds and experience, and it's interesting too, I think, to get from somebody that you've been through a lot in the last couple of years here in the truck industry. You kind of helped guide Aero through a pandemic, and you oversaw a lot of changes here with the company, and now you've moved on to Mack. Can you just kind of tell me a little bit about what your role here now with Mack is?
Yeah. So, my role is really on the new truck sales side. So working directly with dealers, working directly with, our teams, both internally and the dealer teams, of how we really do exactly what we were doing at Aero. And that is how we support and help the customers that we get to do business with. Mack is a company that is, clearly Mack is a company that's a part of the Volvo Group, huge, massive company. And Mack really is one of these iconic brands. When you think in the US, you think about, I relate it to companies like John Deere and this rich history and heritage. And at the same time, you think about Mack, this rich history and heritage. But what's even really fun and it's really cool to be a part of is that Mack is really driving towards a direction of how we continue to grow. Mack's been a company that's been, a part of the construction industry, and it's a part of the dirt and the dirty trucks and all of that work, and making a huge, substantial investments on the over the road side and how we continue to grow. And I, really, I think it's been, came from Aero, which was one of the leaders within the used truck space, and now to come in to be a part of the new truck side. Clearly, Kent, I've got a lot to learn. I had a lot to learn, and I still do, of this overall business. I figured really you were probably scraping the bottom of the barrel when you were asking me to come be on this podcast, but no, really, I mean, it's truly, it is fun for me. And, as Arrow, we don't manufacture trucks, right? We buy used trucks, we sell used trucks. And really, this is a cool opportunity for me to really understand the manufacturing side, to understand the new side of the truck business. It's cool for me to get the opportunity now to see this other side.
For sure. And it's unique. I think you're very uniquely positioned to have a unique perspective because of all the changes that have happened with this industry and getting to see the new and used side. There's so many diversities, of thought that you probably have there now.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited to ask you this question because it's interesting to get these different perspectives. I'm telling you, I love how diversified we're able to get this conversation, and having someone that maybe didn't have a lifelong truck background. Actually, this is a fascinating question for me. We ask this to everyone. What makes a successful driver to you?
It's a great question. And really, I think it boils down to, and this is kind of an observation I had. When I worked in the John Deere space, I was always impressed with the customers that I got to interact with. And what was amazing to me was it was a relatively small, tight knit. I remember at one point I worked on cotton pickers. I was part of the cotton picker team. But I remember that I was talking to a customer at a show. He was from California. And the very next day, I got a call from a guy on the East Coast that was a cotton farmer and basically telling me what he had heard this guy say, right? It was such a tight knit group. Trucking industry, substantially larger, but very unique, very impressive customers. And what I find so often is that, let's think about it. It is, and I love the tagline that Arrow has, right? Is if you're eating something, it was brought by a trucker, right? If you're wearing something, it was brought by a trucker. And I think that's the part that I really love, I really get to engage with, is the fact that, what we wear, what we buy, what we do is because of and been moved by such a core foundational part of our lives. And I think, you look what went through the pandemic. When I joined Arrow in February of 2019, the market was just falling fast. And we saw a lot of challenges, and we saw challenges within our drivers. And as a company, from a finance position, we made a decision that said, we're going to support our customers. Let's make sure that they're supported through this. Same thing that COVID hits and the pandemic hits. And we took a decision that said, hey, we're going to make sure that we stand behind our customers and make sure that they continue to work through this. And why not? Because it is the absolute, it is the foundation of every one of our economy is built on this transportation. So I'm proud to say I get to be a part of that. I'm any opportunity we have to get out and get engaged with customers and understand their business. As a new manufacturing company, we can't survive without understanding what the needs of the customer are. As a used truck business, we can't survive without customers. I mean, how awesome is it that we get to work with, what is absolutely a critical core part of our economy?
For sure. And a diversified, a very diversified, a group too, with a lot of different people, and even the little sub segments within this industry. There's just so many different facets of this industry, and so many different knowledge bases, and diversity of just diversity with ethnicities and stuff too. It's really cool to see this group.
It is cool, and that's really been the neat part. As you travel around with Arrow, as you travel around to see the different locations, to see the nationalities. Go to Chicago, and there is a unique nationality that Arrow does business with there. You go to Jersey, or you go to Stockton, California, and very unique. But again, to your point, and it is, if you think about Volvo and Mack, a very diverse global company, right? We are spread across this world, almost 100,000 employees of all kinds of nationalities. And you think about within the trucking industry, we deal and we get to work with that huge array of diversity that exists within this industry. Man, I'm proud of the foundation that we have. I'm proud of the company we are. I'm truly honored that we get to work with the customers that we get to work with.
So I want to follow up to you with this, your new role here at Mack. What's your role in the truck driver story now? How are you helping truck drivers find that success?
Yeah, and I think it really drives down to, and I don't know that it's that different from our aero side of it. It's our customers that we do business with have a need, and you think about, throughout the industry, there are new buyers, there are used buyers, but at the end of the day, they are customers that have a need, that have an interest, and have a desire, and it's our job of how we work with them to help spec the right truck, help them find the right vehicle for their application, help them that's ultimately filling a need, whether it's their job and they're the over the road truck driver, or it's the manufacturing company that puts bodies on the back of a Mack truck that is then sold out within the construction industry or sold within the refuse industry. Our jobs is no different, whether it's used trucks, new trucks. We get to work with customers that have a need, that have a demand, and it's our job to help find and fill those needs that they have.
Jeff, you were a big part of helping us at Aero kind of make a lot of big transitions I had mentioned, and one of the things that you kind of really helped us establish here in the used truck industry is a motto: clear, simple used truck buying. What does that mean to you, that phrase?
Yeah. So, I think ultimately it comes down to, and it's customer centric again, right? It's focused on the customer, and it says, for our customers, they should know what they're buying, right? And they ultimately have a choice in what, where, why, how they buy. I think all too many times you find, think about the car industry of many, many years ago, or you think about, I came from the tractor industry, right? You bought a tractor by going to the dealer, and that was your only choice. And you think about what's happening is customers have a choice, and at the same time, customers have access to an unlimited, massive amount of data. And so, organizationally, it is our responsibility to make sure that this clear, simple used truck buying is. A truck may have a dent, it may have a ding, it may have a scratch. Let's not hide from that. Let's make sure that we truly represent the way it is, and that we meet the customer's needs based on what is their needs and what works for theirs. And let's not hide from those things, right? Let's be very upfront and transparent, because it is sure, we could hide from it, we could do something, and we could push a deal out, but that deal will haunt us forever. And it's kind of, you and I have used the line, it's clear, simple buying, right? It's clear, it's simple, it's easy, it's understandable. And it's that transparency that I think is absolutely vital. And this is a major investment for the customer, and it is their livelihood. And that transparency is critical, because it's not our opportunity to sell one truck. Yes, we can sell one truck, but it's how does that one deal turn into the next one, and they also tell their friends, and they tell their family, and they tell the people that they trust, and ultimately how we continue to support and build on that trust.
Yeah, our podcast, the reason that we built this was, and the reason that we've tried to get a lot of the straight shooters within our company here at Aero on this show is because, it's a desire for that. You talked about information. We're trying to provide information inside and outside of Aero walls, and wanting that diversity of opinion, and trying to provide some kind of value to the people that buy our trucks, or, and it's been a really fun, experiment so far, because, I feel like we've gotten a lot of really good straight shooters. I feel like we've been able to. Yeah, you're one of them too. And so, it's been really cool to kind of see some of the transformations that this company has taken. I'm not trying to just pat us on the back. This is just, getting to talk to the guy that really kind of helped us push some of this across the goal line. So I do have one question finally for you, Jeff. And I think this is going to be another unique one, because you've got a couple years here under your belt, but you've got a crash course, and you've been through a very challenging and unique time in this industry. amidst the pandemic, what has, kind of changed in the trucking industry from your perspective? What have you noticed in the shift in the business, in the industry itself?
Yeah, so I think first off, one of the I like to look at what are the positives, right? And some of the key positives that I think have come out of this. And I think number one is I think there is a true recognition to, think a trucker, right? It's if you think about, remember when everything started shutting down, it was March of 2020 and things were getting crazy. And what we saw and what we realized is transportation can't stop, right?
Right.
It's, yeah, we can shut down or think we're shutting down everything, but the demand the consumer had just continued to roll. And I think there's a renewed energy and a renewed emphasis behind Think a Trucker. I think also the recognition of, this digital space of how we traditionally would buy a truck. And I think Arrow is uniquely poised and prepared to continue to just build upon, if that customer wants to come in, kick the tires and talk to a salesman, come in physically, we're prepared as an Arrow organization. We've got our masks, we've got our shields. We're going to make that the best possible experience for the customer. At the same time, how we take calls, at the same time, how we chat, at the same time, how we continue to evolve to a point where, who knows, maybe that buying experience only continues to change further as time goes by. And so I think we're all recognizing that we have what was forced upon us by just simple health and safety measures. We've realized there's a different way to do business, but at the end of the day, it still comes down to we cannot do this without customers. And thankfully, just looking at the demand that's out there and the opportunities are in front of us. I mean, we're proud that we get to be a part of that transportation industry.
Well, and our desire, whether it be at Mack or Arrow, is to treat those customers as if we're thanking them.
You bet. Absolutely. 100%.
And that's our objective here. That's your objective at Mack now. And Jeff, I want to thank you for all you've done to help us get this thing off the ground, this podcast. And I'm so glad we got to talk here on the Successful Driver podcast, my friend.
It's awesome. Great to talk to you, Ken.
Thank you so much, Jeff. That is going to do it for another episode of the Successful Driver podcast. Be sure to check us out on YouTube, Facebook, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thank you guys so much. We'll catch you later.